Your Daily 180, 180 seconds of pure Bible study.
Welcome to this, your Daily 180 Bible study. We're talking about a biblical kind of church. I want you to open your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 2. We're going to begin in verse number 2. Now it shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. Many people shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. He will teach us His ways, and we shall walk in His paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Here's our point that we want to get to. A biblical kind of church is one that was foretold in Old Testament prophecy. And here in Isaiah we see certain things. Now I hope you'll go back and re-listen to this study several times as you study Isaiah chapter 2. First of all, that we see that the house of God was to be established in Jerusalem. We see that the house would be exalted above all the nations, and we see that the house would be established in the latter days. Now, what does that mean? Let's begin with that phrase, the latter days. In Acts chapter 2, beginning at verse number 16, Peter begins to explain what's happening on the day of Pentecost, and he goes back to a prophecy from Joel chapter 2, and that prophecy begins by talking about this will come to pass in the last days or the latter days. The last days began in Acts chapter 2 on the day of Pentecost. The last days refers to that last period of time. There is the patriarchal age, there is the Mosaic age, and then there is the Christian age. That's the last days. And Isaiah 2 is looking forward to the church time. And he talks about the house of God. What's that? Well, 1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 15 refers to the house of God as the church of God. And so one of the things that we find out here is that all the way back in Isaiah chapter 2, it's looking forward to the time that the church would be established. It tells us where it would be established. It tells us when it would be established. And furthermore, we're going to look at some other passages this coming week that will tell us how the church would be established. Now we need to ask ourselves this question. The church that I'm part of and the church that you're part of, can we read about it in the Bible? Was it established where the Lord said the church was to be established? Was it established the way the Lord said that it would be established, and where the Lord said it would be established, and when the Lord said it would be established? Let's continue this study. Thank you for being with us, and join us again tomorrow for your Daily 180 Bible study.